What's up, guys? The Bench Buddies are back, and today we'll be doing our first video for the college basketball season on previewing games. And we're going to be previewing the first two games on Tuesday night, the big ones, and some other big games throughout the week as well. And we will just get right into it. We got number 3 Kansas going against unranked Michigan State, which was kind of a shock to some people. And Kansas is favored by 4.5, pretty fair line. You don't really know which teams what you're going to get out of these teams since it's the first game. But I'm going with Kansas, and I just think it's a safe bet just because everyone is speaking highly of this Kansas team this year. But obviously you're going Michigan State here.
Yeah, it just seems like they pull some big upsets in this Champions Classic in previous years, and Kansas is playing without Jalen Wilson, which I think is a huge loss for them just because they have so many new players coming in, a lot of talent, obviously, but I don't know if those players are going to gel as much as they want them to game one. So I think having him would have been nice to get some talent coming back. So I think without him, Michigan State obviously had a rough year last year, but they have a lot of guys returning this year, and I think that helps them a lot. So I think they pull a big upset in this game and set the tone for maybe a bounce back season.
7:30, you got my school, Florida Gulf Coast, going against a school I've never heard of in Florida National University. Pretty much I'm going with Florida Gulf Coast here because, well, one, I never heard of that other team, and two, I go to the school, so I have to be biased.
I'm taking Florida Gulf Coast. That's about all I have to say.
And then the other game of the Champions Classic, which should be a really good game, you got Kentucky and John Calipari versus Coach K and his 9th-ranked Blue Devils. And the big story, heading into this year and throughout the year will be Coach K's last season as Duke's coach. And I just think this game, he's going to start with a losing record in his last season. Kentucky just looks really good with all their new recruits coming in, and I just think they're going to get this one done.
Yeah, this is an interesting game. It's always interesting when Duke and Kentucky match up game one because obviously they have a lot of freshmen that are starting in their first game. So a lot of new talent on the court in this game. It's a battle of the transfer portal in Kentucky versus the recruiting class of Duke. But I think the returning talent for Kentucky is going to be the difference in this game. And I think they also get started on a bounce back season with a win.
And then Wednesday night, we got our teams. We got Michigan going up against Buffalo. You watched the Wayne State Michigan game. How'd that look?
A little sloppy in the first half, but they started putting it together towards the end of the game. So I look for them to perform a little better than that this game, hopefully.
And something worth noting is this Buffalo team is picked to win the MAC this year. So Michigan, you could say, oh, they're playing a MAC team. It should be a blowout. Well, slowly roll on that. This Buffalo team, a few years ago was legit. They were a top 20 team pretty much the whole year. And, I think just, it seems like Buffalo always puts together a good basketball team, at least through the last 5 years. But I'm still going with Michigan here, but I think it's going to be closer than a few people expect.
Yeah, Buffalo is a quietly really good program out of the MAC, but Michigan, I think if you're starting to have any trouble, you just feed Dickinson a few times, build a little bit of a lead, and then you can kind of open it up a little more. So I look for them to coast to a win here and get things started on the right note.
And then another game on Wednesday, you got Hope College versus Western Michigan. You got your Broncos with a new head coach this year.
Yeah, it was due. The program has just been in shambles the past few years, a lot of guys leaving. So we'll see if a new coach can bring some life into their basketball team this year, or if they just kind of focus everything on hockey like they have been. But they should win this game, obviously. So let's go ahead and start 1-0.
And then on that Western Michigan coach that got fired, he's actually coaching at Portage Northern now. He's the head basketball coach at Portage Northern. For all you Huskies out there, hopefully he does good this year. And obviously he brings that experience into a high school where he's college experience, to see how that translates. But an interesting game here on Friday, you got the Richmond Spiders versus Utah State Aggies. And Friday, this is pretty much one of the only good games on. if you're trying to watch some college basketball early in the season. As this Richmond team, they need some wins out of conference to boost their, pretty much strength of schedule, and their wins, record to come March. And I expect this Richmond team, be on the bubble throughout the whole year. And this is a good win to start the year off for them. So I'm going with Richmond.
Yeah, this is an interesting game. It could be a matchup of two tournament teams when we look back at it in March, but I think Richmond's probably the second best team in the A10 behind St. Bonaventure. So I look for them to win this game and put together a pretty solid season this year.
And then on Friday, another game. You got Michigan State and Western. I think you just got to go with Michigan State here just because I think you can't pick against them, especially at home with Tom Izzo in the first game of the year. But, obviously Western's still going to put up a fight, but I think State will pull away in the second half.
Yeah, I think they could struggle for just a small amount of time in the first half because I obviously have them beating Kansas. So I think you could kind of see them look a little lackluster coming off a huge win in their first game. But Western, I just am not, I don't think we're going to be very good this year. So if they lose by less than 20, I'll be happy in this game.
And then another interesting game on Friday night, you got ACC versus Big 12 already in the opening week. And, this West Virginia team with Bob Huggins, surprisingly unranked to start the year. Another unranked team that seems, they always compete every year, which is a 5 seed or better, it seems like. And Pitt, which will be very interesting this year because it just seems like every year they're a bubble team or just under a bubble team. And especially I think this game will mean more to Pitt towards the end of the year than it will West Virginia. But I just think you can't pick against West Virginia at home, especially with their, press Virginia.
Yeah, this could be a really good game. Pitt has really turned things around under Jeff Capel after, I think it was 3 years ago, they went 0-18 in the ACC. So they've really turned things around fast, and this could be a tournament this year, but I think they have a tough task taking on West Virginia this early in the season with all that pressure in your face in the backcourt. So I think West Virginia will run away with this game, but look for Pitt to do some big things this year.
And then the best game of the Friday slate at 11:30, which kind of sucks for all of us East Coast fans. You got number 4 Villanova versus number 2 UCLA. And I'm really high on this UCLA team this year, just like everyone else with Johnny Juzang especially. Could this be the year that they, make a run and actually get it done? You saw last year going to the Final Four, making that, what was it, play-in game pretty much to the Final Four. And, they're returning a lot of that team. And they have a few transfers coming in as well to, bolster that roster. So I think UCLA will get off on the right foot here and have a big win against Jay Wright and Villanova.
Yeah, 11:30. I know this is a big game, but just the time makes no sense to me, really, because, who's going to stay up for that? But anyway, getting into the game, I think this is going to come right down to the wire here. I think this will be a great game to watch. I actually picked Villanova at the beginning, but once I realized UCLA was playing at their home court, I had to rock with UCLA, but I think it's going to be a really close game within 5 points, but got to pick the home team in games like this.
And then on Saturday, we got my school going against the Ramblers. This will be the first time we're disagreeing here. I feel like if FGCU, needs a win against, pretty much someone out of their conference, this is the game to win because the only chance they would have against is USC next week at home, which is kind of cool. USC's coming to Florida Gulf Coast to play. But I think Florida Gulf Coast could pull off the upset here. It is in Chicago, though, so that's not a good thing for all the Eagles out there. But I don't know. I'm just going with this pick strictly on bias. That's it.
I'll be honest, I know next to nothing about Florida Gulf Coast. All I know is I didn't have them winning their conference in the March Madness video, but I had Loyola as a bubble team, actually as the last team in. So I expect them to kind of have some talent coming back from last year and be able to put it together even under a new coach. So I think they should win this game.
And then at night, you got Michigan coming off hopefully a win against Buffalo versus Prairie View A&M. No clue where that is, but I guess it's a D1 school, and I expect Michigan to win big here, and start the season 2-0.
Yeah, this will be interesting. Michigan playing this game in DC, some HBCU showcase or something, but Prairie View A&M, I think that's what you said. They've made the tournament 1 or 2 times in the last few years, but obviously they are not going to really compete in this game. So I look for Michigan to win big, big.
And then another great matchup to start the year as Texas, who I'm very high on with Chris Beard, versus #1 ranked Gonzaga and Chet Holmgren. I guess you could say you're lucky if you're a Gonzaga fan that Mark Few only got suspended for 1 game. And if it was a 2-game suspension, they wouldn't have him for this game, and it would be all the world if they didn't have him. But I'm still going with Texas here. I think Chris Beard is really gonna take that Texas program to a new level. Back when they had KD, I think it's going to be kind of a similar situation. Make a run, especially March Madness, as you saw that I took them to win it all. So I got to start high on that Texas train already, and I'm going with Texas.
Well, let me just say, if you love good college basketball games, you better get your coffee ready this weekend because now you got a 10:30 game for this huge top 5 matchup. But I think every year it seems like Gonzaga's schedule works out for them because they have all this talent coming back. So they play these great teams in December when all these teams are new, they have new talent, and they haven't put it together yet. And then they get into the West Coast Conference and they just run through it. So I think it's going to be the same deal here. I think Texas is a great team, but just so many new pieces for them, including the head coach. I think this is way too early to play Gonzaga on the road to be able to go in and beat them. So I got to go with Gonzaga. But if this game was played in March, this could go the other way.
And then the last game for the week, we got Florida State and Florida. Big rivalry here, especially in college basketball in recent years. And I just think that Florida State, they're 20th ranked right now. But I just think that this Florida team is really underrated heading into this year. In the SEC, it's kind of wide open, you could say, this year, with Arkansas, Alabama at the top, Kentucky. But it seems every other year, Florida makes a run and really gives it a shot, to win the conference. And last year wasn't that year that they didn't really have a chance. They were still a decent team, but not really in contention for the SEC. And I think this year will be the year that they have a chance to contend in the SEC. And I'm saying that I gotta go with Florida here just because I'm so high on them this year. And Florida State really doesn't blossom until I would say the new year starts January. That's when they really turn it on. So I think I'm going with Florida here in the upset.
Yeah, I'm just kind of high on Florida State, to an extent. It seems like you're just getting your typical Florida State team here, 3 or 4 seed, compete for the ACC championship. It seems like just year in and year out, that's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually didn't have Florida making the field in my March Madness bracket. They could obviously turn things around, but just going into the season, I'm not super high on them, but obviously that could change. But for now, I got to rock with Florida State, who is the more experienced team and I think the more talented team.
And that'll be it for this week in our men's basketball pick'ems. If you like this video, make sure to like and comment and subscribe to our channel. Just help us get to 50 subs. That'd be great. We're only 15 away. We're doing a giveaway at 50. So make sure you subscribe to our channel to be entered in that giveaway. But until next time, the Bench Buddies are out.
She never called back.